Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming to our panel discuss today. The topic of this panel discuss is the scale up the global tech ventures with the Taiwan's ecosystem. What it means that what it means on this is because of what? Because of we are the visitor at the Singapore, and we got to let you everybody knows our resources of Taiwan. So first of all, you got to see both of us, Yvonne and me, we are come from the Taiwan side, and Ceres and Oliver's come from the Singaporean side, but they have a lot of business experience at Taiwan. So, and everyone said here we have the Q&A sections. Then you probably could raise your hand if you have any questions that you're going to approach in this. But not only on the Taiwan side that here, we also need to know more about in the international, in the Singaporean side. That probably they could, or all of the venture capital here probably could invest the Taiwan teams and bring the Taiwan team to the Singapore, to SEA companies that you got to develop their business. That is quite good though. So the first of all, I got to introduce a little bit more additional information provide to you about the TTA Taiwan. TTA actually is an ecosystem direct support by our Minister of Science and Technology. We just grand opens on last year's June. Right now, currently, the TTA already cultivate 155 teams already. The accumulated fundraising is around like 30 million US dollars already. We are especially focused on the AI, semiconductor and software systems as well. And then you may see, well, from Taiwan, the small island, from north to south, actually, we have like 13 scientific park. And each scientific park will contain like 2 to 300 companies in it. So in the total, we have 3,000 companies who has the annual revenue over 2 million US dollars. These are all of the these are all of the companies that everyone could approach, like as your customers, your investor, and also as your supply chain partners as well. And also not only this, from north to south of the Taiwan, we have 100 industry clusters. It's including the biomedical, it's including the photoelectronic, it's including precision mechanism, even the cosmetic in southern part of the world, and also petrochemical as well. So these are all of the industry that we probably could see. We have also 14 large R&D institute, 250 multinational R&D centers at Taiwan. And all of these resources actually you could reach only 2 high-speed rail hours. So it is very convenient on that. That is why Taiwan government recently, we are very keen to use our leverage. We are very keen to leverage our resources to make friends with all of the international ecosystem. That is why the TTA come into the pictures. So the TTA, the first mission of the TTA is that the Taiwan become the foundation of global tech ventures. We will play like the main entrance of Taiwan resources engagement. The second one is that we got to play like international culture fusing hub. The TTA currently we probably already cultivate 155. This year we probably got to plan like cultivate 200 teams on here. I think that right now currently we're in from my statistic data set, is it a 20 to 25% actually from from Asian countries, all of the teams at TTA. And we also have the 20% of the teams from US and 10 to 15% of the team from Europe as well. So this will TTA got to present like international cultural fusion hub. Not only we call networking together, we event together and co-working together, but also we also could know each other's culture, thinking thought, that it is more easy for you to adapt your solutions to your target market localization, something else. So these are very good for them. And then the third mission of the Taiwan Tech Arena is that we got to play like a Taiwan brand, the startup nations, to embed or to link the global ecosystems. So therefore we have like, at least we have like 2 branch office at Silicon Valley. One is in the Sunnyvale, and the other one we got cooperated with the Skytech and at Berkeley. Probably we're going to open another one at San Francisco. Right now we are thinking that how could we have the Israel and also the Tokyo and also the other place in Europe as well. So these are all of the everything of the Taiwan Tech Arena will do. So we are thinking that how could we also cooperate with the Singapore. Singapore is quite important for us to see like a business hub or business platform to get into the SE or Asian countries. So these are all of everything that we can also say. Here, this is my, self-introductions. So now we turn the spot and time to my next
Thank you, Louis.
To see.
Patty, can I have the presentation? Can I have my slide on, the next slide? First of all, good morning, and I'm Singapore, and it's a pleasure to be here joining the panel with Louis, and thank you for the invitation, and with Oliver and Chelsea. Yeah, and well, let me introduce myself a bit. My name is Yvonne Chen, as you can see. I have been in the venture capital and corporate VC and industry for a little bit over 20 years. Covering segments from like semiconductor, digital health, medtech, AI, blockchain, LED, OLED, and lately like VR, AR, 5G, and also like mobile something software. So I think most of them are coming from are in Taiwan, the Silicon Valley, San Diego, Japan, China, and also Europe. Therefore, I think that's why I'm here, because I'm almost like the Taiwan's history, for the past decades then. And not to mention just name one or two of the company I invested. So just give you a sense that, for example, like Spectrum. Have you please, if you haven't heard of Spectrum in China, please raise your hand. So you haven't heard of Spectrum? Spectrum is like Qualcomm in China. It was founded by the Tsinghua, a group of Tsinghua alumni. I invested into Spectrum almost 20 years ago. And that's WCDMA is just like the 5G companies here today. And also take example like Health to Sync. It's a digital health company based in Taiwan, but they also have branches in Singapore and Japan. I think this is one example showing that in Taiwan we have a close relationship, close links with the Asian adjacent countries depending on its market and talents. I think that's about myself. Yeah.
Thank you. How about Ceci?
Good morning, I'm Chelsea, CEO and co-founder of Botbot AI. We're an enterprise productivity tool, so what we do is build automation and automate workflows for enterprises, ranging from back office to financial institutions to HR departments.
Good morning, my name is Oliver. I'm co-founder and CEO of ViSenze. ViSenze is an artificial intelligence company. We specialize in e-commerce and retail. Our objective is to simply help shoppers and users solve problems in their consumer journey by helping them find products a lot more effectively using AI. Thank you.
That's good. Well, first of all, we probably got to let everybody know the Taiwan resources. Yvonne, probably you could also say something from your venture capital side of the Taiwan.
Sure. About what? About venture capital?
From your venture capital side, then you see what is the environments of Taiwan for the startups and also the resources that the foreign startup could approach.
Okay, a picture says 1,000 words. Let me use let's use the slide. Can I go to the next slide? Because I have been in the big VC firms in China, in Taiwan, in the US. For example, like CIB, and one of the companies called HTC. But maybe some of you haven't heard of HTC, the smartphone, the first Google phones maker, So therefore, I would like to share with you is that, with our strong legacy of the industry, Taiwan started as PC and PC portfolio and server, wireless, security, and also LED, OLED, not to mention the semiconductor. And until recently, we have MedTech, we have digital health. I think in Taiwan, most of the industry, most of the startups, we have more knowledge, we have more core competence in the deep tech area. And that's one of the Taiwan's strengths. And if anyone would like to make things happen, what do I say by that? You have idea. If you want to make it real, you just come to Taiwan because we almost have a very solid ecosystem, I would say supply chain to help you to make it come true, to make it real, to make the last mile happen. For example, the company, the startup, like Futurenow is a POS maker. It's in Taiwan. Well, it was about like 10 years ago. That was the time when the system of the post would like to transfer from DOS to Windows. Have you? I think you might heard of DOS, right? A window, or maybe you are too young. Do you know DOS? Okay, so I'm glad. Yeah, so they're in Taiwan. So a lot of great companies like from Europe, from French, the second largest like metro markets vendor, or also the company from from Australia. They all come to Taiwan to look for manufacturing and look for a solution partner. So that's why Futurenow is doing. Before that, they were doing something like computer stuff, the computer assembly, and to sell it to the Europe market. So that's why, like Acer, the company Acer, I think the first PC company Acer has a very strong market strength in Europe. Even today, they don't have any RD division, but they still have the market. They still have the market intelligence in Europe. So I would just like to share with you is that Taiwan is a perfect gateway for you to go to like Japan or Europe or even US or anywhere in the world, even the Southeast Asia.
Yeah. I think that's Oliver, you just arrived from the Taipei to here, right? Yesterday, is it?
Yes, I did.
What did you do at Taiwan? Is it the business developer or something else?
Thanks for that question. In fact, that's true. I just came back from Taiwan just yesterday, actually. So I was there after a long while, but I'm pretty impressed by what I've seen in the Taiwan ecosystem. Which only goes to show I've not visited Taiwan long enough. Right? But what I'm thoroughly impressed by the ecosystem over there is that, as what Yvonne has said, right, Taiwan has one of the most complete supply chain ecosystems in terms of its ODM, OEMs, and ICT ecosystems all built in. You can actually source a lot of things. You can actually get it very, very quickly. There are a good supply of hardware engineers, ICT engineers who are very, very good at doing what they're doing. So certainly from a engineering perspective, there is no lack of engineering talent I've seen on the Taiwan side, especially on the hardware. I think where I see opportunities for collaboration with Taiwan is on the software side, where, like for instance, Singapore particularly is strong on services. All right, Singapore is a very, very services-oriented economy. Very good at digitization, very good at creating applications out of services, but we're not good at hardware. All right, that's, if you throw a stone and try to hit a hardware engineer in Singapore, I think you struggle to hit one, okay? So I think this is where a common area that I very obviously see coming back from Taiwan and seeing where Singapore is and where Taiwan is and how we can actually collaborate on it. The chipset industry, for instance, is going through a phenomenal change. Edge computing, it's one of the biggest things or biggest challenges that the chipset makers, the SoC chipset makers are having today. How do you internalize AI on chipsets? How do you create more intelligence, different domains, all right, and re-architect that through FPGA designs on chipsets? And I think that's one area that countries like Singapore could actually collaborate very deeply with Taiwanese startups who are particularly strong on ICT and ODM designs to be able to internalize all of this hardware, this AI, whether from and how do you transpose that from the cloud to chipset designs, where you can actually leverage the heavy computing power that these chipsets actually has today. All right, if you can imagine what these chipsets are going through in terms of its heterogeneous and homogeneous computing power, there's so much raw power that they have on the device. If you can actually leverage that, you can actually alleviate a lot of stress in the cloud as well. So there's a lot of things that we can do. That's some of my very immediate, very obvious observation.
Yeah. Actually, I know many of the manufacturers right now at the Taiwan, they are doing, for example, and they are doing you customize a DSP and embed into in front of the cameras, and you got to have the algorithm flexible to update and to see what kind of the IoT data you got to grab or you got to penetrate, and you got to machine learn from that chipset or something else. These are all of the everything that Taiwan has the capability to exchange the essentials, characteristics of the IoT, the functions on this. I think this is, I know that you are you are a team at the AppWorks, right? So how many days or months or weeks that you stay at Taiwan, and how do you feel?
We were actually incubated, we actually participated in an accelerator called AppWorks in Taipei. So I've been there about 7 times in the last 3 months. So over my time in Taipei, what I can say is that I think it was an eye-opener in terms of expanding what we think business could be. Because as Singaporeans, sometimes we don't think of hardware solutions as solutions that we can adopt simply because it's not very popular or we don't have the capabilities to do so in Singapore. So I think when I went to Taiwan and I looked at their hardware industry, the way they use IoT is IoT in Taiwan is so common compared to Singapore, and I think that we could really make use of that synergy. The other industry that I was very impressed by was the agri-tech industry in Taiwan. So it sounds very disconnected from where we are because Singapore traditionally doesn't have a very strong agriculture industry. But I think that the agri-tech industry in Taiwan is so advanced that if we do manage to bring some of the tech over, or we manage to have some sort of crossover between software and that kind of hardware in traditional industries, then I think that would be very enriching.
Can I add one thing?
Yes.
You know what? And what's the population in Singapore? 5 million or 6 million people, right?
About 6 million.
6 million. Taiwan, we have 23 million people, right? But we have college educated people around more than 9 million.
Yeah.
And Hong Hai, Foxconn, how many people they have, employee? They have more than 1 million, around across across the strait, Taiwan and China. Yeah, so I mean, here in Taiwan, we're just kind of engineering country, One third, people my friend are engineer background, or engineering training. So if you ask any one of them, or most of my circle, we know about AI, IoT, AI on the edge, algorithm like that, NLP, machine learning. Well, that's our common word. I mean, our daily life, So it's very different from the other country, I would say.
Yeah, I think so. Well, currently it's not only the Taiwan resources, actually it's not only in the engineering side. Every year, local Taiwan money, the new money coming out is probably $300 million US. And we also welcome that all of that are matching. We have the National Development Fund, right? We also welcome everybody could mention that. In the year 2019, what I saw is that globally, all of the fund size is around 200 billion. And in Asia countries, we already have reached like 81 billion already. So it means that in the Asian country, we have a more and more desire or more and more keen to invest the startups. So that is something that we probably could approach on this. So I would like to ask Oliver, what do you think that how could you dig out the resources of Taiwan? How could you approach the proper resources that you want combined with your business development?
Right, that's a very good question. So let me explain what we do currently, and then I'll answer that question. So ViSenze is a artificial intelligence company. We're deep learning. We specialize using computer vision to help people find products. So if you were to download, let's say, the ASOS app, which is one of UK's largest fashion retailers, you will find a very small icon on the top right-hand corner that's called image search. All right. So instead of searching using keywords, you could basically take a picture of any products. All right. Let's say Chelsea's, running shoes. All right. Nike, very nice. Okay. And instead of trying to describe this using keywords, I could just take a picture of that and have immediate results being returned back to you. So what we have done here is basically to extract vectors, what we call them, and use these vectors to find immediate products. That's the value that we bring to the industry. What we're doing today is at a very app level. All our resources are in the cloud. Our computing power, we have our algorithms reside in the cloud. The next evolution in terms of democratizing some of these computing power is looking at handheld devices. If we can transpose the algorithms from the cloud in some way to a device level, we can leverage some of these pre-processing capabilities that the chipset, the GPUs on these chipsets actually offers us. And you could actually reduce the latency significantly. Just imagine countries like India, for instance, where it's still struggling with its 4G network in different parts of the country. You could actually reduce the latency significantly and actually return a better end-to-end experience in terms of this output. So to Louis' question, how do I find resources to be able to do this? This is where I start to look around. All right, I go to the U.S. I spend a lot of time in the U.S. Qualcomm is there, Intel is there, IBM is there, and NVIDIA is there as well. Yes, I mean the U.S. is still the unparalleled leader in this area. But Singapore to the U.S. is 17 hours to San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
It's only less than 5 hours to Taiwan. All right, so very naturally, Taiwan offers that capability, the kind of engineering resources for AI companies like ourselves. I've seen a very developed IoT ecosystem in Taiwan today, and that's largely been built with the strength of its very hardware-driven engineering capability. So Taiwan has leveraged that very well. I think the next big opportunity is how can Taiwan export these capabilities that it has built over time. That very tight ecosystem that Taiwan has in healthcare, in transportation. All right, I went over to Hsinchu in less than 35 minutes. Very, very impressed. Okay. How could you democratize some of these hardware engineering capability? Chipset designs, SoC designs, ODM designs, and so forth, and bring that out to countries like Southeast Asia, where there is a huge consumer market.
Yeah.
So Taiwan has done well in one part, which is technology to business to consumer.
Yeah.
That complete ecosystem.
Yeah.
For Singapore and Indonesia and the rest of Southeast Asia, we are very B2C.
Yeah.
We are B2B as well, but I think the engineering capability within Southeast Asia is still somewhat limited insofar as the hardware side is concerned.
Yeah.
That's where we start to look at US, look at China, look at India, and so on and so forth, right? So I think if there's a way in which Taiwan could actually work maybe through TTA and through different platforms itself. I think that's a good mesh of mix of software as well as hardware engineering capabilities to actually make real impact. All right, be it in terms of medical equipment. I was just reading the pamphlet over there. I'm very impressed that you have orthopedic glasses for surgeons to actually do that. All right, the way that you have actually transposed the AI into glasses, my God, that's amazing. All right, countries like Singapore does have the software capability, but the hardware side is somewhat still, missing. That's not our traditional area. Yeah. Rather than reinvent the wheel, find new collaborative ways in which startups like us could actually work with you, whether in retail and in healthcare. You could also leverage our strengths insofar as financial services is concerned, because Singapore is a financial hub, very, very strong in it. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, Singapore has good governance in that area. So there are differences in strengths that we have that we can actually leverage across both countries.
Yeah, I think it's at around like year 1970 or 60 or something else. It is probably in the U.S. We have the Intel, we have the Microsoft, right? And Taiwan is like a manufacturer who made all of the desktop and also the notebook. So we have a very good partnership with the large MNC right now. But I think in the innovation economy, it would be better to dance with the unicorn right now that's here, right? So you see, in the unicorn, what I saw is that not only, for example, like in Singapore, we only have 6 million populations, but Singaporean people or Singaporean government, they are trying to build the South Asia's platform, right? So you see the crab, you see the sea, and also you see Indonesians unicorn like Gojek. They also have the platforms with all of the Indonesians. So the accumulated populations around like 600 millions. So that is quite good for you to cultivate the unicorn. But now you see, how could we dance with the unicorn from Taiwan and also bring the resources or advantage to Taiwan to be here? I think the Pop-up is a Singaporean company is trying to dig out the resources, make the business models with the Taiwan, right? So how could you think you develop plans of resources gathered from Taiwan to develop your companies at the SEA country?
I think apart from hardware capabilities in Taiwan, another very notable capability is their blockchain and data science capabilities. So for us, when we build productivity tools for enterprises, a lot of times we customize solutions for them. And that usually means that we have to build a data science layer that's customized for every enterprise. So it makes a lot of sense for us to get engineers from Taiwan. So on the talent front, that's a great exposure already. We also work with Taiwanese enterprises, so that's another new market there. But I think throughout my time in Taipei, I do notice that there is a very healthy exchange between both Taiwanese startups and Singaporean startups, mainly because Singapore is such a good landing place for Taiwanese startups to come over, plant their businesses here, and then expand out into Southeast Asia. Singapore is well known for our IP protection, is well known for tax. So when they come over, there are already very, very market advantages. For us, when we go to Taipei, we do get exposed to a whole new world of talent. We get exposure into new industries like agri-tech. We benefit from their decades of experience in hardware, especially in the semiconductor industries. So I think that healthy facilitation and that dialogue needs to continue happening throughout platforms like Taiwan Tech Arena.
Wow, that's good. That's good. You want to add something here?
Sure. When you're in Rome, do as Romans do. When you're in Singapore, I think you speak like Singaporean. We are long-term old friends. But how come I feel you're like
Singaporean?
Singaporean,
Yeah. Of course.
It's very interesting. Oh, I would just like to add one thing. I mean, here is a slide that I can show to everybody. You know, we have Hsinchu Science Park in the northern part. We have Central Science Park, and we also have the South Science Park. Hsinchu Science Park, we have TSMC. I think most people know that TSMC, and we have ice testing, and we also have like the ecosystem, the very complete ecosystem in there, and also the Central Science Park. We have like precision machinery company like Dadi which is almost like the unicorn in Taiwan, and we also have life science, and inside and the Central South Central Science Park，好难念哦，南科。We have quite a lot of life science company and also the millimeter wave, the 5G, technology there as well. So just give you a sense. And the revenue or the turnover of, for example, take Hsinchu Science Park as an example in 2017, it's about like 34 billion US dollars. So in terms of semiconductor, everything Taiwan is number 3, the 20% market share. Intel, US is number 1. But when you speak of foundry, the foundry service, then Taiwan definitely the number one in the world. Not to mention the IC packaging and testing, the whole ecosystem. We have the best in the world.
Yeah, okay. Then, Oliver, did you meet any hurdles when you dig out the resources or you back the business with Taiwan?
Any hurdles? I think that's
Always
more,
people, right?
well, I mean,
Communication or what?
I think no. I mean, I think very generally, I think we all have. Most Taiwanese speak both English and Mandarin. All right, so I don't encounter any hurdles over there. Even if I speak English, they can also respond in Mandarin. All right, so that's understandable. I think it's most companies who go to Taiwan either seek collaboration opportunities, perhaps for bigger markets. Startups in Singapore trying to go to Taiwan for its consumer market may not be that familiar with that market, generally speaking. All right, so I think that's one area that we could understand a little bit more. 23 million people. What are its what are the areas that represents immediate consumer opportunities? Is it in retail? Is it in food and beverage? I love the food and beverage. The bubble tea is fantastic. That's one of Taiwan's favorite things.
Yeah.
All right. At the same time, I think there is what we can do is to encourage more engineers in Taiwan to seek opportunities outside of Taiwan.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's one area in which countries like Singapore and other countries could offer, do a better job, I guess, in showing that there are career opportunities outside of Taiwan as well. All right. I've always felt that there is a keen interest in, but somehow or other they don't know what they don't know. All right, which market to go to. So coming to Southeast Asia, Taiwanese engineers are generally not so familiar with a market like, let's say, Indonesia because of language and cultural difficulties. Singapore very, very naturally offers that platform, if you will. Like for instance, my company ViSenze, we have about 14 nationalities, 14. All right, so we have people from China, from India, from Indonesia, from even Taiwan itself. So it's a good way in which we can then move to different markets and address these consumer opportunities, leveraging what is already available in Singapore itself.
That's good. That's good. So, sir, do you have any hurdles as you business develop at Taiwan or cooperate with Taiwan?
Not so much on the regulatory side. I mean, Taiwan's regulatory and support system for enterprises, for startups and enterprises is quite similar to Singapore. They do provide a lot of grants, a lot of support from the government. I think the main trouble that we faced was that when we went to corporates and enterprises, right, sometimes they are more risk averse, so they tend not to want to, they might not want to take the risk of working with a foreign startup. So that's a very real problem that we faced, and it was only through many meetings that we managed to convince a few enterprises to maybe take a look at our solution. But it did pay off, so that's great. Other than that, in Taiwan, I find that it was very interesting experience for me. I think something fun about the lifestyle there. Taiwan has a very good artisanal culture. So everything from art to coffee, it's all artisanal, and I really love like Taiwanese artisanal coffee. So artisanal coffee. Yeah. So that was a very interesting experience. I am looking at bringing more Taiwanese products to Singapore as well as expand my business in Taiwan as well. So yeah.
Yeah, agriculture is another very beautiful areas that Taiwan could approach on this. I think that all of that we will see. If you do not know anything, that how could you approach the Taiwan resources, that you probably could contact with our Taiwan Tech Arena's staff. And in Taiwan, we also have like 400 startup supporting organizations like APP, accelerators, incubation center. So all of that could help you to approach all of the Taiwanese resources. But you may know that I show you some of the one case that you probably see. Taiwan Tech Arena right now, we have 500 manufacturers on hand. Then we categorize into 3 categories. One is the system SI, and the other one is the pilot production manufacturers. The third one is the mass production manufacturers. The mass production manufacturers are big manufacturers like ASUS, like Acer, or something else. And the SI partners is quite beautiful compared with the other countries, the other cities. You will see the SI partner of our TTA that probably could turn your innovators' innovation into state-of-the-art commercial product spec. That is very, very important things. The second thing, they could pilot, they could prototype your products and then turn into the pilot production. And the third one is most important, that they could help you to have the supply chain management. As long as you change one spec, then you probably will see the key components or supply chains or all of everything probably going to change, even the form factors of that. So these are all of everything. The supply chain is quite important on this. So that is the advantage of Taiwan right now in the tech venture side, manufacturing side. Currently, Taiwan is still the top levels on the advanced manufacturing side, the number 1 or 2 in the world right now. And even you don't know that Taiwan actually is the top 10 in the world with safety country to do the business. That is also what I saw in the worldwide report, World Bank report right now. So these are all of everything that you probably could approach, that you come to Taiwan and visit them, that you probably got to spend a lot of the time. For example, a Tesla. The first prototype of a Tesla actually made at Taiwan. They do spend a lot of the time to look at all of the manufacturers, see at Taiwan, especially precision machinery, in the cluster of precision machinery. Let's look at it, for example, let's look at Taichung. 100 manufacturing on that, 100 manufacturing at that Taichung area. So you probably can knock the door and look at all of the products or capabilities of the manufacturers from all of them. Then you got to find out the very big one. For example, like this year, I thought that one of the San Francisco startup we call Motif, it can do all of every body information collected sensors within a very teeny or very small rings. And look at all of everywhere, like in Shenzhen, like in Shanghai, like in the other place, but they cannot make it. But they finally saw one of the manufacturers at Taiwan. They could put every micro levels IoT device in one ring. So that is something you probably got to find out everything said. And even on this, Taiwan actually every year from the the Minister of Science and Technology, we spend like 3 billions. Actually, the 3 billions R&D expenditure to all of the university through like 150,000 projects. So these are all of everything supporting the innovation economy that we got to push. So please, that if you have anything that you probably could have any idea that we kind of discuss, then how could we approach the Taiwan resources?
Can I add one thing? For example, and right now we are very open, and even the traditional industry, they are very open to the innovation. Take one startup as an example, Unbound, like Duncan's company. They're doing the vending machine. They put IoT inside the vending machine. I think this is a very interesting idea to help the merchant. Help the company and manage your remote side IoTs. But that's a very interesting idea, right? But we make it happen. But it's actually, there are lots of, we call the know-hows and lots of industries something that is hidden, we call it hidden spec. Because I'm from the telecommunication side. There are a lot of hidden spec, a lot of know-how that you don't know. But just, when you want to do it, when you want to make it real, you just have to make it real, So we'll just share with you the one example, like even the vending machine could be IoT, how does it, IoT vending machine, yeah. Very interesting, yeah.
All right. You want to say something?
Yeah, maybe I could maybe have a question that I could ask my my fellow panelists, and so far as AI is concerned, all right, because
All right.
I think AI is going to change the world.
Yes.
AI is going to electrify
Yes.
the equipment and make it more intelligent. All right. For Singapore, we have a very, very strong focus on AI transforming basic industries, like in transportation, like in smart nation. All right. Singapore wants to be the first smart nation in the world. All right. So there's a lot of emphasis around creating a smart nation and democratizing data in order to make platforms more intelligent, whether it's in the cloud or on IoT devices. Can I ask, what is Taiwan's strategy in this area? What is Taiwan's AI strategy? Which verticals are you guys focusing on, and what can we expect from Taiwan?
All right. Then we have the three kind of the strategies for development of AI. For example, like the first of all, you're going to see the AI actually you got to approach the AI. The first step, you got to approach the digital platform, right? When you got to approach the digital platform, you got to approach the device. How could you gather the exactly data from the machine, from the vendor machine downstairs? So there's one question is that how could you have a very good IoT sensing device to gather the right data? That's one thing. The second, these are all of them, many of them, what I say, that many of them is related to the semiconductor-wise. For example, right now you have high frequency, high power, and even you approach the silicon material to the bio-wise or something else. Then you got to see Taiwan, actually we have a very strong capability to change the essential characteristics of the device, of the IoT. That's the one thing. It is good for you to adapt, good for you to grab the exactly or the right data, even the phenomena. When you get it out, that you never saw it. That was very good for the machine learning on this. That's one thing. The second thing is that we have a group especially focused on, especially in the AI school lab, right? Then we have especially focused on the system. What is that? The system software developed. For example, the purpose of that kind of the software developed, they can to increase your accuracies of these systems. For example, from the voice, from the vision base, from the thinking base, and also from the meta-logical summarize base. That is also something that we probably could see. That's the second thing that we got to help. The third thing is that we got to think and we got to dip in every domain to look at which point in the domain inside we got to machine learn or we got to deep learn on that side. So these are the application sides. We also welcome everybody in every domain we could discuss with this. And Taiwan basically got to think your domain and know your domain inside problems. We'll identify your domain inside problem. We got to propose you to the AI or machine learning based solutions for you. So these are all of the very good combinations that we probably could talk. The three strategies that we are now going. Thank you. Anyone else? So now is the turn of all of the audience. You have any question you got to ask all of the panelists that are here. Please raise your hand. All right. Is it? Okay. Then if you still have the further question, well, it's not that good for you to ask in public, and then you probably come to us in private. And everybody will welcome on this. Okay,
Can I add one sentence?
Yes.
Well, I think here, because here, I think Taiwan Tech Arena is here already. So I think, why don't we just spend 1 more minute to let you know? I think Taiwan Tech Arena, because MOC is very aggressive, very friendly. I mean, they have done a great job. So they created Taiwan Tech Arena. It provides a gateway to the entrepreneurs, provide a gateway to the traditional merchant, traditional manufacturers, provide a gateway to the global community that provide they have a platform. I mean, integrating the capital size, integrating the manufacturing size, right? And integrating even the talent side.
Yes.
Right? I think that's a wonderful gateway for you to approach to. If you don't know me, if you don't know Oliver, you don't know Chelsea, maybe you can just go to Louis, because I think they have everything there.
Yeah.
It's a great gateway for the world, right?
Thank you very much. And Chelsea, the last sentence, your suggestions on the collaboration with
I think
Taiwan and
from the
Singapore.
startup point of view, it's worth going to Taiwan even if you're just exploring or just having a look around. The exposure is great. The people there are warm, friendly, so that helps a lot. And the food is great, so yeah.
How about 珍珠奶茶?
I'm not a 珍珠奶茶 person, but they have a 直茶, they have a version of 直茶 called 热茶, which is top of the line, so yeah.
Yeah.
I always have a very warm feeling when I go to Taiwan. I do have family members there as well, so I've always have a very warm feeling. But every time I go there, I get more impressed by what Taiwan has to offer. But more importantly, Taiwan and Singapore as small countries, AI is going to change the world. AI talents are very difficult to come by. I think we are all better off collaborating, leveraging each other's strengths than trying to reinvent the wheel itself. All right. So I think if there's more opportunities to collaborate, both at a startup as well as at the bigger company level, I think that's a good thing, and we should facilitate that.
Yeah. So I got to say that the Taiwan and Singapore actually is two brothers, a very major brother in the Asian country. So please come to Taiwan and visit Taiwan to learn Taiwan more. And then we got to also, bring our teams to the Singapore to know Singapore more. That we expect that we have a good opportunities. We have a very good partnership in business development. Thank you very much for today.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.